here today to do my BookTube Prize Round 2 rankings video and tell you why I decided to put the books in my category where I did. So the group that I was reading in was Fiction Group A, and my 6 books were quite different from each other, so the reading experience varied greatly throughout the time. And I started off really strong, and then it kind of lost steam from there. So just a little preview of how that went. And if you're interested in the more detailed reviews of the books, I do make vlogs about my reading experiences as I'm reading the books. So those vlogs will be upcoming and published shortly. And then if you're watching this in a few weeks from today, they will be linked down below. Okay, so I usually start with my 6th ranking and kind of work my way up from there. So in number 6, I placed Deacon King Kong by James McBride. This was based purely on my reading experience. I found I got quite bored at times. I didn't like some of the ways James McBride described women in his work. And the story just wasn't my type of story. It was a lot of action, intrigue. A lot of the story was told through dialogue between 2 characters. So there wasn't a lot of setting, there wasn't a lot of description, there was just a lot of dialogue. And I didn't find that helped me to really connect with a lot of the characters. There were a couple that I liked, but I am a character-based reader, and so for me, just the overall experience of reading the book, I actually listened to this one on audio, it just didn't work for me the most. So my number 5 book was Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. And I was very much in the minority in this opinion because Interior Chinatown did move on to the next round. So I knew as I was reading the book and afterwards when I read reviews that this book has gotten a lot of attention, a lot of people love it. It has a very unique style and format, which is to be told very much like a screenplay. And for me, I wasn't able to really connect with the characters because of that style. There was other parts of the book that were not told as much in the screenplay format, and those were the parts that I really connected with and where I was able to connect with the characters. I did learn a lot about the Chinese American experience, and I think that overall it was a really informative and well-conceived novel. But for me, I found it really tedious to read because I could never get the flow. I just couldn't get into the rhythm of the story. I'm sure the way the author would have intended, and so that's why it got my number 5 spot. Number 4 was Pew by Catherine Lacey. And I was actually surprised in the end that it got number 4 because at the beginning I actually thought this book was going to be in the top 3 for me because I really enjoyed the beginning of the book. But what happened was the book never expanded. It never developed into something else. It just stayed in this very kind of one-trick pony, repetitive mode, where Pew was, kind of the conduit through which everyone else in the town could admit some of their flaws while trying to get Pew to talk about their life and tell them who they were. And that never happened. We never really had a reveal of Pew. And then the ending, I didn't quite get, I think. I didn't really understand what was happening at the end. And I did read a few reviews and read a few other people's interpretations, but I just felt that overall it fell short of doing what it was doing at the beginning, which was showing this first-person narrative of this specific person who was experiencing life in a non-binary way. But to me, it just didn't deliver, the level of experience and the level of connection that I needed it to. So it was number 4. Number 3, my top 3. Number 3 was The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel. I struggled with it at the beginning, and then at the end, I started seeing the crafting of the story that Hilary Mantel had put into it, and it really brought it home for me, and it really elevated the experience of reading. It's such a feat. The whole series, the whole 3 trilogy is such a feat that it, again, I don't know if it's really fair to compare a book like that to these other books, because, I did read the first 2. I had the entire experience of the trilogy, and so that in a way probably elevated The Mirror and the Light beyond the other 3 books because of that experience. So I'm not sure if that's fair. It did get through to the next round. So whether or not it gets through to the final round will be up to other judges to decide. But, it is a feat what she did. And I did care so much about Thomas Cromwell. He drew me in. I continued reading it because of him. So I feel that, he was the reason that I kept reading, and his character and his character development and how she wrote him was really what put The Mirror and the Light in number 3 spot for me. Number 2 for me was Homeland Elegies by Ayad Akhtar. And unfortunately, I guess the rest of the judges in my category did not agree, and Homeland Elegies did not get through to the next round. I thought it was an absolutely fascinating novel. Again, it had a different structure. It felt very much like nonfiction. So like Interior Chinatown, it was kind of playing with the typical novel structure and trying to do something a little bit different. And I really got into that. I really connected with the characters and was fascinated by that style, because I do love memoir and I love nonfiction. And so for me, it really worked as a novel. I was able to suspend belief and not worry about what was fact and what was fiction, and just enjoy the narrative. And I think that the novel touches on some really important parts of identity. And I think that you can, again, compare Interior Chinatown and compare Homeland Elegies. They're both playing with the idea of being the child of immigrants and growing up in America with a different perspective, where you're trying to bridge or balance 2 cultures which you feel are inside of you, one being Chinese culture on one hand and one being Pakistani, American, and Muslim culture. So, there's a lot of layers to it. I thought that there were a lot of wonderful points that Akhtar made, and it held my interest. It kept me engaged the whole time. So it was my number 2 pick, which means my number 1 pick was The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Amezi. I also listened to that one on audio, and I'm glad I did. I thought that there were 2 narrators for that, and I thought both of them were excellent. They really helped me to understand, name pronunciations and things like that. It brought the story to life for me, but also I think Akwaeke Amezi is an incredible writer. The story was vibrating. It had such energy. It had such emotion. It had such authenticity. To me, Vivek's character was just so compelling and interesting, and real, and I just, the story is gripping, and you want to know what happens. I mean, you start off knowing that this character is dead, and then you want to know how that happened and why that happened, and everything is revealed to you, but it's not revealed too soon. It was just perfectly balanced to me, perfectly executed. I was worried at one point that I had figured out the end, and I hadn't. It was a little bit much more subtle than I had imagined, and I was very happy about that, because I think it would have made me really sad to have had that suspicion come to life. So yeah, The Death of Vivek Oji was my number one read for round 2 of the BookTube Prize in Fiction Group A. And I mean, it was a mixed bag. It was for sure a mixed bag. I think it was a bit of a struggle. The Mirror and the Light was over almost 900 pages. And so I didn't get going on it soon enough, because I had wanted to read Bring Up the Bodies, and so I did that. But I accomplished it. I managed to read them, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens in this next round, and see which of these books goes forward again. And like I said, if you're interested in hearing more in-depth thoughts about these books and more descriptions, then please check out the vlogs. And I am not judging this next round, but I will most likely be judging the last round of the BookTube Prize, so you can expect more BookTube Prize videos from me in a few months. And I do, if this is your first time here, I do make book videos several times a month about different things I'm reading, and I also make videos about my art practice, because I am also an artist. So if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing, and thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment if you disagreed and were a judge, and want to tell me how you judge this round, and I will be back again soon with another video.